We're going to be doing a myofascial quadriceps stretch now. So I prefer this to doing any static stretching because especially in our sort of active movement phase, we don't want to destabilize the body. We want to be able to make sure that the muscle is available to the best of its ability, but also to give it some length. So myofascial stretching is preferable to us doing any static stretching at this stage. And static stretching has been proven to give temporary relief, but it doesn't create a permanent change, whereas we know that myofascial stretching does. So I'm going to get Flo to come up, and she's going to go into single kneel position here for me.
What do you want?
Let's put this leg forward. Good. Now, we want to make sure that the back leg, if it's not going to put too much pressure on your knee, the toes are tucked under, because then we can get some support from the hamstring here. And then maybe if we just get you to move back just ever so slightly, sorry darling, so you've got something to hold on to. It's always easier when you can just hold on, and bring this leg further forward. That's it. Now, look down at your pelvis and make sure that your hip isn't hiked, but that you've got both hips level. Good, okay? Because again, when this leg comes forward, it's so easy to hike that hip up. Now what she's going to do, she's going to actively just activate her glute, and think of tucking under ever so slightly, and then she's going to find that her front of her hip is going to open here. To do the myofascial component here, we actually need to shorten and resist through the front of that quad. So she's going to do that by thinking of pulling her entire thigh forward and pulling her heel back. So she essentially doesn't move, but she creates this muscular contraction and then release. And exhale, drawing the knee forward and the heel back, and release. And the last one, and pull together, 1, 2, 3, and release. Okay, so it doesn't look like much, but it's unbelievably powerful. It's very intense, isn't it, in the sensation? And then you can actually feel it at the top as well as in the body of the muscle of the 4 muscles that you've got here. So often it's this bit from the ASIS to the top of the thigh bone that's really hard to stretch, and that is the most effective way to do it. Okay, so let's switch over onto the other side, and we'll just do that, otherwise she's going to be lopsided. So just tucking your toes under at the back, making sure again that your pelvis is directly over your thigh bone, you're tucking under, your hips are level, your leg is slightly further forward than 90 degrees, so it can come out a bit more. Good. And then we're going to pull the kneeling thigh forward, pull the front leg back, creating that barrier, and release. So it's like you're just coming up against a force field, yeah. And again, can't get through. We're going into the twilight zone, and we're going to do one more, pulling together and release. Perfect. All right. And so there we have our myofascial quad stretch that we want to do before we even lie down and attempt to do any of those exercises that can be so excruciating.